My girlfriend cheated and said, I wish to have a real man. I walked out. The next morning, my phone had 27 missed calls. Looking back, I probably should have seen it coming. The signs were there all along, scattered like tiny breadcrumbs over the last few months of our relationship. But after being with someone for 3 years, I kept giving her the benefit of the doubt. That's the excuse I kept using, at least. It all started with small things. Olivia had started staying late at work more often, which wasn't too unusual given how busy her job could be. Then I noticed a new perfume she was wearing, one I'd never smelled before. There were also clothes in our closet that I didn't remember buying, and her phone suddenly became a sacred object. She clutched it in her hand and kept it never more than an arm's length away. I'm not the jealous type, never have been, but something in my gut told me something was off. I remember how she would yank away if I tried to hug her from behind while she was texting, or how she'd rush out of the room to take calls, always saying they were just work stuff. And there were constant girls' nights with friends whose names I'd never even heard before. One Tuesday afternoon, I was folding laundry when I noticed her phone light up on the coffee table. A preview of a text from someone named Adam showed up on the screen. Miss you already, and then it was cut off. My stomach dropped. I really didn't want to snoop through her phone, but at that point it felt like the universe was screaming at me to wake up. That night when she got home, I decided to confront her directly. I found her in the kitchen, calmly making a smoothie as if everything was normal. The blender was whirring loudly as I leaned against the doorway and watched. When she finally turned the blender off, I asked, "Who's Adam?" Her whole body stiffened at my question. Her shoulders even tensed up. Then something happened I didn't see coming. She smiled, but it wasn't her warm smile. It was cold and almost triumphant. "I was wondering how long it would take you to catch on, Ethan," she said, lifting her glass for a sip. "Adam's my boss." And yes, she took a slow breath. I've been sleeping with him for the past 2 months. Hearing her say it so casually felt like a slap to the face. She said it with no guilt or shame. In fact, she sounded almost proud. Without missing a beat, she kept going, a smirk on her face. I needed someone who knows what he wants and goes after it. Not a guy who spends his weekends playing video games with Brandon and watching dumb movies. I just stood there, taking it all in. 3 years together, and this was how she really saw me. In that moment, through all the shock, I felt something else rise up in me. Not anger, but a strange sense of clarity. "Does Emily know?" I finally asked, thinking of the friend who had introduced us. Olivia laughed and said, "Oh, Emily's known for weeks. Most of our friends know." She shrugged and added, "They understand. Adam can actually provide me a future, not just empty dreams and excuses." That hit me harder than the cheating admission. All those people we'd shared birthdays, holidays, and dinners with, they'd all been watching this unfold, probably laughing behind my back. Later, I pulled out my phone and opened our group chat with Brandon and Emily. I texted, "Is any of this true? Did you guys know?" Brandon's reply came almost immediately. "Dude, you're a good guy, but Olivia deserves someone more put together. Don't take it personally." Emily messaged too, "We never wanted to hurt you, but maybe this is the wake-up call you needed." I looked up from my phone and saw Olivia standing in the doorway watching me, that same stupid smirk still on her face. She was clearly waiting for me to freak out, waiting for the big scene, the story she could tell everyone later. Poor immature Ethan finally losing it. She probably wanted. Instead, I just smiled, a real smile, genuine, and it seemed to catch her off guard. Without saying another word, I walked to our bedroom. I grabbed my go bag, the one I always pack for weekend trips, my laptop and my car keys. Passing through the kitchen again, I could tell Olivia was staring at me, and I saw her smirk falter just a bit. She demanded, "Where are you going?" I answered simply, "Out." Then I added, "And Olivia, you can have the apartment. I'm sure Adam can help you with the rent." I heard her open her mouth to say something else as I closed the door behind me, but I didn't even stop to listen. My phone had already started buzzing again with messages, probably our so-called friends scrambling to explain themselves. As I drove away, I turned my phone off and realized I felt something I didn't expect: relief. Sometimes you have to lose everything to see what you never truly had. I had no clue where I was headed, but for the first time in months, I felt like I was finally going in the right direction. Update. Thanks to everyone for the support on my last post. I never expected it to blow up like that. A lot has happened this past week, and honestly, I'm still trying to process it all. I've been staying in a little motel on the edge of town. It's not glamorous, but it's clean. The owner, an older guy named Tom, seems decent. He even knocked $20 off my weekly rate after hearing my story. 2 days of silence later, I finally turned my phone back on. 27 missed calls and 44 text messages. Most of them were from Olivia, a few from Brandon and Emily, and some from numbers I didn't recognize. But what really grabbed my attention was the social media storm. Olivia had been busy, really busy. Her Instagram story painted a version of events I barely recognized. In her posts, I was this controlling, jealous boyfriend who tracked her every move. She claimed I had emotionally manipulated her for years, isolated her from her friends, and threw a violent tantrum when she stood up to me. Each post was filled with hundreds of sympathetic comments, even from people I thought were my friends. The crown jewel was a tearful video she posted where she claimed I financially abused her. She said I made her split every bill 50-50 while I selfishly hoarded my money. Funny thing was, she actually earned more than me and had insisted on splitting bills that way. Then I got a text from Samantha, a co-worker I'd known for years. "Hey, you should check your email. Something's going around at work about you." Sure enough, there was a company-wide email about creating a safe workplace, with thinly veiled references to some alarming behavior by certain employees. No names were mentioned, but the timing wasn't subtle. I guess I should have been furious. Maybe I should have shouted back, posted my side of the story. But I felt strangely curious instead. How far was she going to take this? As it turned out, pretty damn far. Yesterday, I stopped by our local coffee shop, the one place I figured I'd be safe since Olivia always said she hated their coffee. Wrong. The barista, who had always been friendly to me, gave me a look like I was a piece of gum on her shoe. Later, I found out Olivia had become a regular there, telling her survival story to anyone who'd listen. But here's where it gets really interesting. I was picking up some clothes from storage when I ran into Jessica, who used to be one of Olivia's so-called best friends. She looked nervous, eyes darting around like she was afraid of being seen talking to me. She whispered, "You need to be careful. Adam isn't just her boss. His wife, Karen, is very connected. Olivia's been telling her that you're unstable, even dangerous." I asked, "Why are you telling me this?" Jessica's eyes shifted again, and she said, "Because this isn't the first time. Before you, there was another guy at Adam's work. Olivia and Adam did the same thing to him. He ended up leaving town. That conversation changed everything. I spent the night digging through legal records, social media, anything I could find. It turns out that other guy was real. His name was Ryan, and he completely vanished from social media right when Olivia started at that company. This morning, I got a call from my landlord. Apparently, Olivia had tried to take my name off the lease, claiming I'd abandoned the apartment. When that didn't work, she told him I'd been threatening her. He called me to warn me. It turns out his own sister went through something similar years ago. Here's the kicker. In the middle of all this, I got an Instagram message request from someone I didn't know. The profile pic was of an elegant woman in her 40s with expensive jewelry. The message was simple. "I think we need to talk about my husband and your girlfriend. Coffee tomorrow." It was signed Mrs. K. I'm meeting her in an hour. Something tells me Olivia's real man story is about to get a lot more complicated. The funny thing is, watching Olivia spin this elaborate web of lies and seeing people I thought were friends choose sides just based on her word, it's actually kind of liberating. Every nasty post, every fake tear, every twisted story just confirmed what I already knew. I'm not losing anything worth keeping. Update 2. Sorry for the delayed update. These past 2 weeks have been wild. That coffee meeting with Mrs. K was a total game changer. It turns out she's been gathering evidence for months, not just about Olivia and her husband, but about a whole pattern of abuse in the company. Remember how Jessica mentioned the guy who left town? He wasn't the first. Mrs. Karen had documented at least 3 similar cases over the last 5 years. Young employees getting mixed up with her husband, then helping him push out anyone who might expose them. The difference this time? Mrs. Karen was done staying quiet. She had texts, emails, expense reports, even parking garage security footage. But she wanted one final piece: public exposure. That's where the annual company party came in. I wasn't planning on going. Why would I? But Mrs. Karen had other ideas. Sometimes, she told me, the best revenge is to let people reveal who they really are. The party was at a fancy downtown hotel. I showed up late, wearing clothes nicer than I ever had for these things. The looks on people's faces when I walked in were priceless. Olivia nearly dropped her drink. Adam went from red to white so fast I thought he might faint. But here's the beautiful part. I didn't have to do a thing. Emily was the first to approach me, clearly tipsy. She slurred loudly. "You've got some nerve showing up here after everything you put Olivia through." I just smiled. "Everything I put her through?" I asked, loud enough for nearby groups to hear. "Interesting. Please, tell us more." That's when Samantha stepped in. Remember her? My coworker? It turned out she'd been quietly collecting evidence too. Screenshots of Olivia bragging about her conquests in the company chat. Recordings of her and Adam planning how to spin this whole thing. "Actually," Samantha announced, tapping a microphone, "I think we'd all like to hear the real story now." The next hour was like watching dominoes fall. Mrs. Karen's entrance was perfectly timed. She walked in with a tablet in hand, and suddenly the projector started showing slideshow after slideshow of messages and photos exposing Olivia's lies. I watched as Olivia's increasingly desperate attempts to control the narrative completely unraveled. But the real show came from Brandon. This is the guy who always preached bros before anything. He had been filming the whole thing on his phone, probably planning to show Adam later to prove his loyalty or something. Instead, he managed to catch Olivia's total meltdown on camera. "You think you're so clever?" She screamed at me, furious. "You and that bitter old witch trying to ruin everything I've built. Adam loves me, and we're going to have a life together." That's when Mrs. Karen dropped the final bomb. She pulled out their divorce papers. It was already filed. Adam had been promising Olivia the same future he'd promised those other girls. Same story, just different people. The best part was through all of this, I barely said a word. I just watched as years of manipulation unraveled in real time. Finally, Jessica spoke up. "I helped her," she said to the now silent room. "I helped Olivia ruin that other guy's reputation. I just can't do it again." By midnight, the party was effectively over. Olivia stormed out, mascara streaming down her face. Adam was locked in his office with HR. And those friends who had been so quick to believe her, they didn't dare look me in the eye anymore. As I was leaving, Mrs. Karen caught my arm. "Thank you," she said, "for being the one who didn't run." I drove back to my motel feeling strangely at peace. Tom was still in the office watching late-night TV. He looked at my tired face and gave me a big grin. "Long night, huh?" he asked. "You could say that," I replied. This morning my phone is blowing up again, but this time it's apologies and explanations. People swearing they never really believed Olivia's stories. I even got a message from Ryan, the guy who left town. He's been following everything through mutual friends. Sometimes karma doesn't need our help. It just needs an audience. Final update. Well, this is it, the final chapter of this saga, and it's been one hell of a ride. First, the aftermath of the company party hit harder than anyone expected. Within 48 hours, both Adam and Olivia were asked to resign. But that was just the beginning. Remember all those documents Mrs. Karen had collected? Turns out there was a lot more. Every expense report Adam had faked to cover business dinners with Olivia. Every email where they plotted against employees. Every bogus performance review. She handed it all to the board of directors. The company's legal team moved fast, really fast. They weren't worried about the affairs. They were alarmed by the clear pattern of harassment and financial misconduct. Both Adam and Olivia are now facing civil lawsuits. But here's where it gets interesting. Remember Ryan? The guy who left? He came back. And he came back with receipts, both literal and figurative. He had documented everything before he disappeared, including the smear campaign Olivia and Adam ran against him. He just hadn't known what to do with all that evidence until now. Mrs. Karen introduced him to her lawyer, and 3 days later, he filed his own lawsuit. Then something beautiful happened. Other former employees started coming forward, each with their own story and evidence. What started as one scandal became an avalanche. Olivia tried to get ahead of it by posting a tearful video, claiming she was the real victim, manipulated by Adam and now being persecuted. That's when Jessica finally grew a spine. She posted screenshots of Olivia's private chats, the ones where Olivia bragged about her conquests and planned how to destroy people's reputations. The ones where she openly mocked her victims. Last week, Olivia actually showed up at my motel. Tom called me at work. The girl you told me about. She's making a scene in the parking lot. I took my time driving back. When I arrived, I found her sitting on the hood of my car, mascara running down her cheeks, clutching a manila envelope. "I have dirt on everyone," she said, trying to sound threatening despite her shaky voice. "If you don't help me shut this down, I'll release it all." I just laughed. "Go ahead," I told her. "Burn every bridge you have left." She threw the envelope at me. Inside were photos, screenshots, private messages, ammunition she'd collected over years of manipulating people. Her insurance policy. I took pictures of every single page while she watched, then handed it back. "Release whatever you want," I said. "But first look at where your schemes got you." You know how people like Olivia are? They can't stand when their own weapons are pointed back at them. Sure enough, she ripped that envelope to shreds right there in the parking lot, screaming that we'd all regret this. Someone had recorded her little tantrum. Within hours, it was all over social media. The final blow came yesterday. Mrs. Karen's divorce with Adam was finalized, and guess what? She got everything. The house, the cars, most of their assets. Adam's golden parachute from the company, gone, drained to pay legal fees. His reputation destroyed. His future career prospects, well, let's just say if he Googles his own name, he's in for a nasty surprise. As for Olivia, last I heard she's moving back in with her parents in another state. Her social media is completely dark. The friends who sided with her, they're dealing with their own fallout now. Turns out backing the wrong horse has consequences. Brandon tried to apologize yesterday. He sent a long message about how he should have been a better friend. I just replied with a screenshot of his old messages cheering Olivia on. He blocked me. Coward. Emily's doing damage control too. She's worried those screenshots of Olivia's might affect her own career. I almost feel bad. Almost. What about me? I just signed a lease on a new apartment, and I even got a promotion at work. Funny how life can turn around when you remove toxic people from it. And yeah, I'm seeing someone new now, taking it slow, doing it right. The best revenge isn't plotting or scheming. It's living well and letting people destroy themselves. But I won't lie, watching it all burn has been pretty satisfying.